Hi gang, it's Mark Anthony Tierno again with another one of my intermittent video posts, and one of these days I'll actually get one right. I just thought I'd fill you in on a bit more of what to expect on the vast world of Maldene, and it is indeed vast. It's a world as vast as its plot. I probably mentioned a few times here and there that the whole tale is about 13 books long. Each book, well, to give an idea, just the first one that's currently out now as Maldene Volume 1 and Volume 2, that's the first full novel. It's about the length of the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy combined, and it goes on from there. But the first story, the best comparison has been a reviewer that compared it to The Hobbit meets the Odyssey. And the more I think about it, and I love that comparison, by the way, but the more I think about it, that's basically sort of accurate. You have a group of people that don't even know they're the world's heroes yet, that they have a destiny ahead of them, and they're basically bumbling into something and finding out that there's more of going on in the world than anybody could have thought. And that leads them on to a quest that takes them to, let's see, 3 different continents. A place called the Sea of 1,000 Islands, and this is a story how I thought up that name, by the way. A journey through Tierno Show, which is the Great Whirlpool. For the visual for that, picture a whirlpool about 1,500 miles across. And it's been going for as long as anybody knows of it as their history, thousands and thousands of years. And it is said that it is a portal that leads to other worlds, and indeed they do find themselves on another world at one point. Sort of a lesser sister planet, and that's called Devon. And that's where they'll be meeting a person called the Dragon Lord. And he does have a connection with Myro, and that's part of the story of them finding out exactly what's going on. But it's back through there, through the harbor of the world, up to meet a king. Now this one king's a bit of a mysterious fellow. You know, he started out being an orphan, found wandering in the woods, and no one knows his background or any of that, but by his own hand and some fellows he met along the way, he ended up becoming king of a pretty good swath of the continent known as Dagoloth. And he has this magnificent castle that him and his archmage put up. But the important thing about him is he seems the one person willing to actually seek some solution to our ultimate bad guy, Myro. The solution he seeks involves these characters that we find at the beginning, which is Sabu, Eldar, Kandal, Sindar, Bronto, and a host of others. And indeed, the first section of the book, it's actually laid out in 3 sections. The first section, we basically get a peek at the background of Maldene and these characters. It's a character introduction revolving around a little sort of minor quest. A quest that turns out to be a test. Who will survive, and what is it that they're being groomed for? The second section, they basically are journeying hither and yon, trying to find out more of what they can about Myro, and what it is he wants, and their place in the world. And that's when they go and through the other world of Devon and some other places. But the third section, they find something else, that there's a place, the ruins of an old lost city that may hold a few potential secrets to how they can possibly fight Myro or find out some more about him. But that's the thumbnail summary of that. But one thing to watch out for in that third section, there is one teeny little thing that happens in there. It's a little something they find that's it's given maybe a page or two of screen time, and that's it. But that is the single most important thing that they will find in the entire series. So I love leaving little clues and things like that. Everything ties together. You will find things mentioned in the first part of the first book that are hints at what comes 2 and 3 books later. You'll find things, and I do this throughout this series, little clues will drop here and there that you'll find out the reasons for several books in the future. I had one friend, for instance, he's my beta reader, his name's Mike, and he read book 4, and he had a question for me about this one scene I included and why it was in there. I shrugged. 5 books later, he found out why. It was actually a lead up to something else. So I have those sorts of stuff, of things scattered all over the place. So that's something else to keep a watch out for. The world of Maldene, it has probably enough detail and background in it that maybe this could be an actual world. You know, if you look in the back of the appendices, you'll find a dictionary I have where I have some like 300 words that I made up just to add a bit of color, and I even threw in my own alphabet in there and the characters I drew up many years ago. And there's just a ton of details. I have an entire notebook just for, you know, what there is on this world. Because the idea is, if you give a complete enough illusion that this world could be real, you know, enough details about it, then you start to buy the fact that if the world might be real, maybe the story he's telling is real. Maybe there could be something to it. You know, could this happen? Has it already happened? That's up for you to decide. The goal is, though, is you're reading a story that draws you in, that just maybe might be. Which, of course, also brings up the unsettling proposition that the world might be. Maybe someplace out there is a villain named Myro who is out to... Well, that's the problem. No one knows exactly what he wants, but you have to beware, for it. No matter how hard you try, somebody will be falling into his plans. Anyway, that's just little snippets. Right now it's out in ebook, paperback, and hardback. There's some web links straight on the video there that you can get. Read it, enjoy it. I also have the second book in the series out as ebook only, and that's Maldene 2 Mysteries of Old. That's old spelled with an E. If the first Maldene book is basically the introduction to the world, then the second one that I have on ebook, that's sort of where the real plot begins. And yes, this is after the first book, where I have such things as a 300-foot dragon just in the first 8 chapters, a journey across several continents, through a great whirlpool to see a king, to fight a couple of Myro's minions, and that's just all the first book. So read, enjoy, and